Hey guys, we're back. And if you watch my previous video, you know we're doing Zombie Captain America. And they say what if series, so I'm guessing this is their cartoon version. But you know what? I wa- I didn't watch that series, but I know Zombie Captain America from the Marvel Zombies graphic novels. I have them all. They are fun. They're goofy. Um, Iron Man's a friggin' torso. So he's flying around with just hands, just using his hands, but he's a zombie. There's Zombie Hulk, Zombie Wolverine, and I doubt we're ever going to see any of those because they, Iron Studios they do a bunch of different statues. If you look on their website, they've got some. You might have to go other places. I did get this from the website. I actually got this one on sale when they had it still. Mostly what you're going to find there, and there's the Chucky box, and Chucky's he's still over here. Yep. This will be on my horror shelf as well. Because I wouldn't say he's a villain. Again, it's a zombie virus. They still retain their intelligence and their powers, which is interesting because you would think with a zombie virus, Wolverine would heal rejecting the virus, but no, he turns into a zombie. And eventually, Galactus shows up, the World Eater. Well, the World Eater gets eaten, and so you got a bunch of zombies then that get the power cosmic from eating the flesh of Galactus. So you didn't think you were screwed enough with superhero zombies running around. You got superhero cosmic power zombies. They're just gonna eat everything they come across until their power runs out. Because the power of the cosmic power of Galactus, well, people think it's all powerful. He's very powerful, but he can only sustain his power by eating planets. The Silver Surfer, for example, he's imbued with the power cosmic, but he has to get recharged every once in a while. So they'll devour his Galactus's flesh, and it'll last a while, but they won't be able to regenerate it. It'll eventually wear out somewhere, either with their zombies. So who cares? They're already dead. Anyway, we got Zombie Captain America, 1/10 art scale from Iron Studios. Worlds to collect. I guess was the slogan originally. And then on the other side there we go, Zombie Captain America. And on the back, what the statue will look like when we pull it out and put her together. So let's do that. If you haven't noticed, I pre-opened the boxes so we don't have to fiddle with the tab on the back. So we can get right into, because we gotta open this part. Which I'm gonna go with this side, because this side is the shorter side for the cut. Let's get it right in. There we go. Sorry about the squeaking. Again, I have been very, very impressed with their packaging and the level of care they take in shipping. Obviously, getting it from a third-hand seller like Big Bad Toy Store, which I did not get this from, but even though I get it from them, they keep it in the packaging because they have this box, but it comes in a different box that on top has a piece of cardboard, so when you go and open that box, you don't accidentally cut into this box in case you decide to keep it like I do. Because right now they're all piled up behind my couch against the wall. But then eventually they're going to go on the shelf. Right, there we go. Pop her open. Alright, there we go. We got her open. Start with the base as usual. Nice, sturdy, heavy base. Oh, put that little piece of foam. Alright. I feel like a kid opens Christmas presents whenever I do this. Alright, just pretty much solid base. Just looks like metal. It's not metal, but it's designed to look like steel girders or something. A single hole, I'm guessing for his foot. Ooh, let's go with the small one here, which happens to be his left arm, zombified left arm, with the cap shield. A little gritty looking, because, well, he's a zombie, so you're not expecting it to keep polishing it. Strapped into a zombie arm. Yeah, it's looks a little worn, a little damaged. Not the statue, the shield, showing that, you know, as a zombie, he's still using it to defend himself from probably being shot in the face. Because I imagine shooting a zombie Captain America in the face with, or any other zombie from the Marvel Universe would pretty much end them. I don't know. Oh, Deadpool's a fun one in that too. Because he's just a head. That's where you get Deadpool. If you watch Deadpool vs. Wolverine, you see the floating Deadpool head. It's Deadpool, and he is from this universe. He is from the Marvel Zombie universe. He is an undead head. And here's the man himself, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America zombified. I'm gonna hold him by this foot so you can see him. Get in there real good. Strap just hanging off his face from his helmet. Look at that. And this is obviously, again, from their cartoon. This looks like the armor he would have worn in Avengers. For the Battle of New York. Because he still got his ammo packs. No holsters. So not using guns. Which Cap will use guns. He got some tearing his suit there into his leg. Down here, wholly exposed leg. This looks like his ankle was broken. Like as a zombie, he was running and broke his ankle. And then his whole right arm there. He still got his glove on. But the details are really nice. I really like them. Let's get this out of the way here for a second. And we'll bring the base back here. We're going to set her down. Right there. Feels like it fits right in there. Yep, there we go. Sorry, someone is trying to call me and I'm trying to make a video here. So anyway, there we go. Zombie movies. Some of our favorites. Let's get this on. Oh, it snaps right on, of course. Magnetic. You know. There he is. Coming to get you. Coming to eat your patriotism right out of your skull. Yeah, good little horror statue. From the What If or Marvel Zombies books. What If show. But as I prefaced in the last video, I ended up with talking about Romero, great zombie filmmaker. Dawn of the Dead, originally Night of the Living Dead. First movie I saw when I was 5, first horror movie. Wasn't scared. My dad always taught me horror movies are instruction manuals for survival. Because he would quiz me when we'd start watching a horror movie. Jason, how do you kill a zombie? Shoot him in the head. He's always had like toy, like suction cup guns or squirt guns or something. Shoot them in the head. Well, how do you kill a vampire? Stab them in the heart with a wooden stake. My dad was like, well, if that doesn't work, cut off their head. Or fire. Because fire kills just about everything. Whoa, what about a werewolf? Silver bullet. Shoot them wherever with a silver bullet. It's like poison. Heart preferably, but anywhere works. I mean, you shoot them in the head, it will work too. You just got to make sure the bullet stays in them. Make sure the silver stays in them. You can stab them with a silver knife, silver fork, silver spoon. If it's silver, if it's actual silver, sterling silver. How do you defeat Frankenstein? Well, that's easy. Fire bad. So my dad always, that's why I never had nightmares after watching horror films. How do you defeat Pennywise? Don't be afraid of him. Don't fear clowns. Well, you'll fear something and he'll find out about it. Don't fear anything. Like, don't have an abject fear. I mean, everyone has fear, but it seemed like abject fear, like terror. He wanted you the most terrified. So, like, if you're afraid of spiders, he'll just take his natural form, which is a giant mutant spider. I digress again. I get sidetracked. Zombie movies. Romero, not zombie films. Of the Dead. Types of undead. Ghouls. Ghasts. Vampires are undead. Technically, Frankenstein's creation, the monster, was undead because he was made from dead people and reanimated. So technically, is it reanimated and undead? Or is it alive because it's reanimated? I say undead. Reanimated dead flesh is still undead. Because they're not susceptible to the same things that living people are susceptible to. Like, he's not going to catch a cold. Cold doesn't affect him. He goes and lives in the Arctic. For how long? That would kill a living being. So, Frankenstein's monster, undead. Werewolves, living creatures. Either cursed or afflicted. They're not dead. They're alive. Zombies. The Romero films are not zombies. They're ghouls. He even said so himself. They're not zombies. They are ghouls. Big difference because they use tools. Night of the Living Dead picked up a tire iron to smash out the window of the truck. Picked up a brick to try and smash in the window of the car at the opening of the film in the cemetery. They're ghouls. Still driven by wanting to eat flesh, preferably warm, living flesh, but not just humans. Night of the Living Dead. Sure, they ate people. But when they were around the farmhouse, they showed scenes of them eating grubs, picking up a mouse, and then they started fighting over the mouse. Zombies don't fight over food. They just go for food and eat it. Like, just gnashing at it. Walking Dead is zombies. The Walking Dead show was good. I never finished it. I'm going to be honest. I got to Negan, and the Negan season, what was that, 8? I was just bored. I was just like, it's Negan. He's just Negan. Dick. I'm kind of bored of the Jeffrey D. No offense to Jeffrey D. Morgan, though he'll never see this YouTube video. I think his portrayal of Negan was good. I just don't think the directing in those episodes was that great. I think they really drugged stuff out a good bit. There was a lot of interpersonal dialogue, of course. Yeah, you're going to have that. I got bored with it. It's like Supernatural. I've never finished the final season. I think I got up to season 14. I might have finished season 14. I can't remember, to be honest. I might not have even watched season 14. I know I didn't watch season 15. The last episodes that I remember clearly were Scooby-Doo from Supernatural, the crossover, because they got goofy. But yeah, zombies. The Of the Dead films, again, not zombies. People label them zombies, but they are not zombies. Still great Undead movies. Zombie, Lucio Fulci, 1979. Also known as Zombie 2. I don't know what Zombie 1 would be, but that had some iconic iconic imagery in it, as well as some memorable scenes. You had the splinter to the eye scene. You had the shark versus zombie scene, because it's set on a tropical island in the Caribbean, and it blends the whole apocalyptic rising of the dead mixed with voodoo zombie-esque zombies. Again, there are many different ways zombies could appear in film. Oh, sorry, stretching out my leg here. In film and TV, you've got the viral zombies like Walking Dead, which at the end of season 1 you find out everyone's infected. When you die naturally, you'll come back. Pretty terrifying to think of, but it makes sense. If it's a virus that lies dormant in your system, you're going to come back. You got the voodoo zombies, obviously. Serpent in the Rainbow, zombie, Italian film. You've got... Now, the movies are titled Demons and Demons 2. And there's debate whether they are demons or zombies. They are demons. They very much act like zombies in the way they just want to, act like ghouls even. Want to just make more of themselves. That's why they're demons, not zombies. But some people will say, well, they're not demons, they're zombies. No, because they don't eat flesh. They don't go for the eating of the flesh. They go just to try and make more of themselves. Propagation of a species. Denotes intelligence. Even if it's crude, simplistic intelligence, but it's a replication. Like zombies don't seek to make more zombies, but their actions cause more zombies to be made. So the Romero films, we have Night of the Living Dead. Both the original black and white is iconic, but the 1990 color version was great. Is great too. It was well done remake, and I like how there was a little expansion on, because Barbara escapes, and in that one she's not a disheveled mess. In the 1991, she at first is a disheveled mess, but quickly turns into final girl heroine, where she don't want to be eaten. She doesn't want to die and be ripped apart by ghouls. She starts fighting back, gets herself a gun off a dead cop, takes his belt, wears it, because it's too big for her around the waist. She wears it across her chest. They just pull it out and popping zombies. Ghouls, popping ghouls in the face. I'm sorry, because people describe them as zombie films, you always refer to the Romero films as zombie films. Then you after Night of the Living Dead, you have Dawn of the Dead, which is still iconic. And this August, I'm going to that mall for the convention center in Monroeville. Is right there by the mall where it was filmed. It's not the same mall inside. Outside, yes. Inside, no. They've been wanting to tear that place down for years, and there are fights all the time about it. They're trying to get it made. I would love it if it was made a historical landmark so they could never do anything with it on the outside. Just keep it. Because, people go to conventions, they're like, hey, that's the mall from Dawn of the Dead. Let's get some photos. Plus, I think they have a little museum there, too. For Romero, not just for his Of the Dead films, but for the Crazies, um, which again was another one that was remade, early 2000s remade. Um, Still good. The original was creepy as hell, but the remake, I would have to say, was done better. Of course, it's going to be it. You know, the time. It's like over 20 years apart. You're going to have better special effects, better class of actors, because, well, you know, it was one of Romero's films, and at the beginning, you have actors now that back then weren't as big as they are now because, you know, they've got notoriety from some Romero films. After Dawn, technically in the timeline would be Day of the Dead, which, if you've seen Stranger Things, that's the one they sneak into. Very fun. Uh, Edited by the ratings board because there were some scenes they didn't want people to see. Just like there's different cuts of Dawn of the Dead. Because Europe wouldn't put some stuff on, let them put some stuff in the film. The United States wouldn't let them put some stuff in the film. That's why there's different cuts. So when you go to buy the DVD, look at what you're going to get viewing wise. You get the original broadcast cut, the theatrical cut, the unrated director's cut, which is the unrated. It's got all the things they cut out from all. You got the international cut, because we talked about on Aliens Day. Those director cuts are way different. Some of them are way different, or add some context to some things that, you know, you didn't get in the theatrical cuts. And that's Dawn of the Dead as well. There are some things in that film that if you only watch the basic broadcast cut, you're not getting some of the context for the other parts, for parts of the movie. And then you have Land of the Dead, and the more up, which is set with Night of the Living Dead being the original timeline, and Land of the Dead, the early 2000s, continued that timeline to where people had created living humans, had created outposts and figured out ways to go raiding and deal with the dead. It also showed the evolution of the ghouls. You had the super ghoul who learned how to pick up a gun and use it. Didn't understand why he ran out of bullets, because he's a ghoul, not the smartest of creatures, but he could organize the other ghouls too. And you notice how they used, they reverted to parts of their old existences. They even talked about that in the original Dawn of the Dead. Why do they gravitate towards the mall? Why do they? Because it's a semblance of their life. This place had meaning to them. Because as ghouls, you gravitate. You don't stay in the cemetery. You go home, or you go to your office, or you go to the places that had meaning to you. And then when you found the warm blood, you killed them and ate them. That's a ghoul. A zombie just gets up and hears a noise and goes towards it, or sees some movement and goes towards it. Just pretty much walks in a straight line, shuffling along, mindless, just hungry, just raw, like instinct to feed. Which the ghouls have, but again, they'll use tools and stuff. And if you're wondering where Lincoln is in this video, he's over there chewing on a bone. He flopped from the floor to one of his beds, to the other bed, back to the floor, and now he's back on the other bed, chewing on a bone, like a little zombie. He's a little ghouly boy. But yeah, so Land of the Dead showed the progression of the human race in the world of the dead. And then you had Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, which were more modernized spin-offs of the Night of the Living Dead, and I would even go so far as to say into like the Day of the Dead style. Like it starts in the night, goes to the dawn, goes to the day, in the span of just a couple of movies. We're in Diary of the Dead basically encompasses night and dawn, because it starts at night, but it's progressed through several days traveling in an RV across the state of just Pennsylvania. It starts in Pittsburgh area, Butler area, where they filmed the original, and they're just traveling by RV using the back roads of Pennsylvania, which is smart. You don't want to be on the major highways. Congestion, more chance of running into more ghouls or traffic accidents from someone, dying along the way and just turning. Because that's the other thing in the Romero films. You didn't just have to get bitten. It's Walking Dead stuff. You died, you came back. It was almost, you don't know if it was viral or bacterial, or maybe it was just biblical apocalypse where the dead start rising from the grave, which is quoted in the original Dawn of the Dead and the remake. Zack Snyder, we'll get to that after we're done talking about Romero, because it is a remake of Romero, but it is Zack Snyder, one of his better films. So yeah, Diary of the Dead wasn't bad. It just showed like a very small group of people on the move, and it ends with a handful of them getting to the end and ending up in a panic room when the help and people that lived in the home they were in just start coming back to the home and wandering around looking for the living, looking for the warm bloods, because they haven't been distracted to go anywhere else, or have no reason to go anywhere else. Because if you've seen Dawn of the Dead, the 80s version, the zombies will just lay around. The ghouls, they'll just eventually just lay around and not care or move. So remakes. Oh, I'm sorry. Survival of the Dead showed the group of National Guardsmen, Pennsylvania National Guardsmen that you see in Diary of the Dead. Now it's their story. What happened after Diary? They were raiders, took a bunch of people's stuff, and then they ended up moving ahead to being, just traveling around, stealing stuff from people, surviving. They were survivors. In the truest sense, as in they were cocky too. Some were more cautious than others. Some were cocky. Being hubris will get you killed in a post-apocalyptic scenario. Be humble. Don't have to be kind, because people could be setting you up to take your stuff or kill you and eat you. It's the apocalypse. You are part of the damned. You weren't raptured. Yeah, so Survival of the Dead, they make it to an island called Plum Island, which presumably is off the coast of somewhere in Pennsylvania or Jersey. One of those no-name, unmapped islands. There are those islands out there. This one, they made it seem like it's way out there, where you had two families, Warren families. It was kind of like, I forget the West Virginia things. Hackneys and Crockett's or some crap like that. But Warren, rival families living on one island, and they'd split the island, based off of geographics. There's a creek or something with bridges you could cross over, like there's a postal worker. You get to the island, people are chained up doing the things they did in life, just like the dead postal worker, the undead, just wanders back to the mailbox, puts the mail in, wanders away, comes back, puts the mail in. Just goofy. Because there's debate on the island of, are they dead, or are they still with us in some manner? Then they're going to get better one day. They ain't getting better. And if they get organized and get free, they're going to eat you. They're going to kill you and eat you. The one you gave an axe for chopping wood is going to chop you up with that axe. It was very much a horror comedy. I wouldn't say it was a straight horror. It's a horror comedy. Diary tried to be a found footage horror film in the truest sense of just being horror found footage. Survival of the Dead, and the ending scene with two zombies pointing guns at each other because they're rivals and they hate each other, trying to shoot each other, was hilarious. So yeah, it's comedy, horror comedy. And that was, I believe, Romero's final film. Shame, but I mean, we get old, we die. And then we have the remakes. Dawn of the Dead by Zack Snyder. Very good, very well done. I believe it was set in Wisconsin, Minnesota, up near the Great Lakes, because at the end they end up on a lake, on a sailboat that none of them knew how to drive a sailboat, which the second a boat was mentioned, hey, let's go to the bookstore and everyone should read the book of How to Sail a Boat for Idiots. Because they burned out the engine on that sailboat, the trolling motor, so quickly, and it was like, you just use the motor across the damn lake. You have sails. It's a sailboat. No one knew how to sail the boat. I doubt the owner of the boat really knew how to sail his own boat. He was an asshole in that movie. He was a dad from Modern Family, Phil. Which every time I see that movie, his name was Steve in the film. I'm just like, nah, that's Phil. He's an idiot. Just like, this is a more evil, sinister, dickhead idiot compared to him just being an idiot in Modern Family. Lovable idiot. Steve, not lovable. And he gets his just desserts towards the climax of the film. Great casting for that film. The DVDs have some extras on them, like the Final Days of Andy, self-videoed, a video diary of Andy. You see him eat a damn goldfish, he's so hungry. But the actor, they show like his body getting frailer in those videos, because you see him a little bit on the rooftop, but it's not his story in that movie. He is a true, like, distant side character. You know they need to get to the gun shop, because that was another thing that I liked about the modern remake. There was no gun store like the original Dawn of the Dead. There used to be gun stores in malls. And then we did away with that. And I'm like, yeah, you never go back to the mall. Sure as shit, not going to my mall. There's barely a food place in there. Because that's the other thing. You look at the mall from the original Dawn of the Dead, and they had all kinds of fresh foods everywhere. You look at the remake, and it was like, nah. And stuff ran out. Of course, I mean, even in the original, stuff ran out. But it took a while. Plus, they also had because it was the 70s, and you still had bomb shelters. Especially in places like malls and schools that were stocked with rationable food if you ever got stuck in there, as well as like canned milk, dried milk, and water and stuff. So yeah, the longevity 50 years ago for going to one of those places was better than now. I mean, if you don't stock up on your own now, and a zombie apocalypse were to happen, you're screwed. You're really screwed. Unless you have a neighbor that is like, okay, but you're going to work for it. This is what we need to do to accomplish something. I have resources, but they are limited. And they're really only for me, but I'm willing to share the crappy stuff. The stuff I'm not willing to eat right away that I would keep till the end. But when that stuff's gone, we're going to have to start scavenging. Have to take inventory. I mean, you're never going to survive one of those scenarios alone. You have to form a community, build a community, and plan. And that means like training, ammo management, not relying on guns, because guns make noise. You can hear a gunshot from a mile away, and if it's a true zombie scenario, they're going to hear it too, and they're going to be drawn to it. They see a helicopter, they're going to follow the helicopter. Walking Dead, perfect example. But yeah, so the remake, Dawn of the Dead, was good. It was goofy. The chainsaws were a bad idea, obviously. If you've seen it, the climax escape with the chainsaws, bad idea. Unless you're Ash from Evil Dead, don't use a chainsaw. You want to get them off the sides. You should have created something else to do that. I'm sure the sporting goods store probably had things you could use to push the zombies off rather than dragging chainsaws up and down. And it's like you're gonna be driving with a lot of turbulence. I don't want to be in the van with the chainsaws. I'll ride on the roof. Thanks. Give me baseball bats every day of the week and strap me up to the roof. I'll just whack them in the heads when they get up high enough. Because headshots still kill them. So bludgeoning the brain will kill them too. And then they even said they were twitchers. You know, if they hit their head but didn't do enough damage, they twitch. Which, that was Tom Savini as the sheriff in that film. Are you done chewing? Yeah. What's up? So yeah, Dawn of the Dead, one of Zack Snyder's better films. Army of the Dead was not. Because you hear Army of the Dead and you're like, oh, is this like a spiritual successor to his Dawn of the Dead, which was based off the Romero-verse? And no, it wasn't. It was a real bait and switch of a Dead movie. What? Hello? Do you want to be in the video? You want to move closer? Come here. Get closer. There you go. I can pet your head here. So, the other remake, Day of the Dead. Mina Suvari. Ving Rhames is in both of them. Different characters, obviously. The first one, he's a cop. The second one, he's a military. I believe he's an NCO. I don't think he's an officer. It's been a while since I watched it. It's not that good. It's not that bad. Oh, you had zombies puking green shit everywhere. It was just like, is this really Dawn of the Dead? Is this it? Is this what we got now? Yep, that's what we got now. And we got a zombie, again. In the remake of Dawn of the Dead, I would say they are zombies. And they are the scary zombies because they run. Which doesn't make much sense because after so long, rigor mortis would set in and their bones would get stiff. Especially when they're just all in the parking lot just standing around, not doing shit. Their bones would stiffen up. Not to mention, all the blood would flow down and make their legs heavier. So the running, I mean, you have to break rigor mortis out. Return of the Living Dead tells us that. Again, they're of the Dead films, but Return of the Living Dead is straight up horror comedy at its finest. One of my favorite movies to watch on and around the 4th of July because it is a 4th of July film. Watch it. It even starts out saying it's for, you know, when it takes place. Eastern time, you know, because they cross over to Western time at some point in the film, towards the end. Pacific time, sorry. But yeah, then they do I think they do Mountain Time when they call in the artillery, nuclear artillery, because they nuke the cemetery. I'm just like, yep, that's what our military would do if they knew that something that they couldn't just straight up kill. Because in the Return of the Living Dead movies, shooting them in the brain doesn't work. Destroying the brain doesn't work because they are a whole different kind of zombie, and they only want to eat brains in those. They don't want to eat the rest of you. They leave leftovers that come back that want to eat more brains. And they are intelligent. Again, not ghouls. Not zombies, but ghouls, because they use the radio and talk. They can have conversations with you. That's why they are the hokiest of the Dead movies. But they have nothing to do with Romero's verse, except for the fact that they mentioned that the whole movie was bullshit. They told him he had to change everything or they'd sue his ass. Frank. Um, so yeah, the Day of the Dead. Just, I mean, if you're gonna watch it, watch it. If not, you're not missing out. And that's the remake. The original. Watch the originals. Watch the originals. Watch the original Night of Living Dead in black and white. Watch its remake from 1990 with color. Anything that says Night of the Living Dead after that, like any years beyond those two films, don't watch because they're garbage. Dawn of the Dead. Watch the original. Watch the remake. Both good movies. Day of the Dead. Watch the original. You can skip on the remake. Return of the Living Dead. Watch it. Watch just that one. There's like 5 or 6 of them, but they get even hokier the further they go. Because Return of the Living Dead was iconic. It was great. Straight up horror comedy. It didn't even play off that. No, we're just straight horror. No, they were like, no, we're a horror comedy. We are a mock-you style of the Night of the Living Dead. Return of the Living Dead 2 brings back 2 actors from the first movie that play grave thieves, graveyard thieves, grave digging thieves. In the second one, and the same thing happens to them in the second one that happens to them in the first one. They both get turned eventually. Return of the Living Dead 3, this is where it's getting like, I wouldn't even say the first ones weren't B movies, but they had a little bit better budgets, which is sad to say. You would think that, oh, it's Return of the Living Dead 3. You've got a chick who dies in a motorcycle accident and flies off the bike into a telephone pole, and her boyfriend, whose dad is the head of the zombie project, wanting to make them weapons. Oh yeah, because let's turn things that we're gonna just turn on you anyway. Let's try and turn. If you're gonna do that, just drop them places. Don't test them. And they're like, well, we gotta test a way to contain them. Fire, ash, just flamethrowers. The only way to definitively kill the Return of the Living Dead undead was burning them to ash. You chop them up, they still moved. Shoot them in the head, they still kept coming for you. Because they got no brains, they want to eat brains. Because brains make the pain go away. Brains make the pain go away, Lincoln. That's a line from Return of the Living Dead. When they're having a conversation with one of the dead. Strapped to a coroner's table. But yeah, fire. Return of the Living Dead, the only way to destroy them. I mean, a nuke does it, but again, that's fire too, because you have the blast zone, and then you have what they call the incendiary zone, and then the force zone, which just knocks stuff out and blows out windows and blows shingles off houses. So as long as you get all the dead in the incendiary zone, you're going to cook them. If they're on the edge of it, they may just get charred. They just may be well done and still moving around. And then you're screwed. And then you got to put them back in the jar. Because they came in canisters. And yes, I see you, I see. In those movies, they came in canisters. They called the eggs. Which you had the iconic. You always see the iconic one from the first one, the Tar Man. And then after Return of the Living Dead 3, which again, you can skip it. Return of the Living Dead, Return of the Living Dead 2, I watched both of those. They're funny, they make me laugh. Stupid humor. Return of the Living Dead, just great film. Return of the Living Dead 2, part 2 is stupid humor that's going to make you chuckle. If you're half in the bag. Return of the Living Dead 3, who cares? Who cares? And then I think I know of 2 others. come to mind is Necropolis and Rave to the Grave. I want to say there might be another one after that, a sixth one, but I can't remember. And then there's Festival of the Dead, which I didn't watch. And then Queens of the Dead, which I guess is drag queens of the dead. And if you're looking for another horror, zombie comedy, which again, I would not say they're zombies, they're more ghouls. Zombie strippers. Yeah, it exists. It's out there. I think Robert Englund's even in it. But yeah, they're zombie strippers. They call them zombie strippers, but they're intelligent enough to strip on a pole and have conversations in a lap dance room before they eat your face. Are they really zombies or are they ghouls? Just trying to trick you. Like I said, in Land of the Dead, there was the whole band in the gazebo playing instruments, you know, trying to lure people in, making it look like there was the gas station zombie, which is the uber, I say uber ghoul. There was the butcher ghoul carrying a butcher knife, you know, and he got him to chop a plywood wall open for a hole so he could see the Fiddler's Green on the other side of the river from the south side. Yeah, it was the south side that they were on. And I mentioned Zombie, Lucio Fulci, 1979. Just, it's a good one. Classic. Might not be up a lot of people's alleys. Its gore factor is moderate to moderately high. But if you've watched The Walking Dead, the gore factor in that show itself was pretty high. So you'll be fine with Lucio Fulci Zombie. But the ending, the iconic scene at the end, where if you've been to New York, you'll recognize the bridge that they just show the undead walking across. Interesting fact that I learned from Joe Bob Briggs on the last drive-in, that was some, how did he put it, guerrilla movie shooting. They did not have the permits to do that stuff. They kind of guerrilla shot it, where it's not exactly legal to shoot a movie, but they wanted to get this one scene, so they busted butt and did it real quick. And if you find that last drive-in episode with Joe Bob Briggs talking about Zombie, he'll talk about that scene and them making it. It's pretty funny, which I didn't even know that until I saw that episode, and I laughed because I was like, that's pretty hilarious. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up here, Lincoln. We're gonna wrap it up. So I think next week I might do a double statue video. I'm debating. I got 4 statues left in my inventory right now to unbox and show off. Sorry I didn't show this one. Well, let me show you this some more. There we go. Back to Zombie Cap. What you came here for, and I rambled on about zombie films and ghouls and whatnot. And this statue is still pretty cool for a good horror statue. So I have 4 statues left. Comment and say which, leave a comment and say which one you'd actually like to see. I was thinking of doing just a very long double unboxing of my Logan, aka Wolverine, with the Weapon X statue that I have of him. Or I have a Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Or Mojo from the X-Men animated series, which he's a pretty big statue. That's why I'm only doing, if I do Mojo, that's going to be the only video I do that day. And then next week I'll either do Darkseid or the Wolverine statues. But let me know which ones you guys would prefer to see. Do you want the double Wolverine unboxing? Do you want Mojo? Or you want to see Darkseid? Let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Enjoy seeing Lincoln with his arthritic knees. How you doing, buddy? All right, you're all right. He's moving around fine. He had some pills earlier this week. I've been looking into the two options of therapy that his vet does, and been reading the literature and just really debating what's going to be best for him. The pills that I gave him for 2 days, they're as needed NSAID, so I don't want to give them every day. They've helped him this week, so we haven't given him any after the first 2 days. But they are temporary relief for him. So therapy, we have platelet replacement therapy, which is what I'm actually leaning towards now, has a more regenerative effect than laser therapy, which will be very intensive but doesn't have as much of a regenerative effect as the platelet therapy. And at his age, only being 4, I would think you'd want to go with something with more regenerative ability for his joints, for his knees. It's just in his knees. But he is just the sunniest disposition of it. Doesn't cry, doesn't whine, and he only favors the one leg over the other. So it's not like he's needing a wheelchair or anything. We have limited taking him out places or for car rides until he was feeling a little better, until we come up with a plan for therapy, which I'm going to be calling the vet Monday about, because I've been really debating which route I want to go, which is going to have the best long-term effects probably. And I have to say that I think the platelet replacement therapy is going to be the thing for him. But again, sunny disposition. So next Wednesday, we'll go to Poochie Chef. Oh, there he goes. He knows that. That's his favorite boutique pet store, where he gets all his treats. And that's where the pictures come from. Yes, I know. He loves going there. They spoil him. Spoil him rotten. He goes, oh, he's just so cute. Yeah, I'm immune to it. I live with him. I know he's cute. But Wednesdays is when his meat treats are on sale, so I like to give them to him. I also put him on a slight diet where we cut out lunch. So we cut out one kibble meal of the day. He still gets his breakfast with his fruit, which is either blueberries, strawberries, or bananas, and a little bit of honey for his allergies, which he's picky. He doesn't like the store-bought honey that doesn't have the blueberry flavor like the one I get Poochie Chef, which that apiary hasn't supplied them yet with. As soon as they do, Lincoln, I'll be buying you a couple bottles. Don't worry, you'll get your good honey back. And he gets pork hearts, which are on sales on Wednesdays. So dehydrated pork hearts plus cheese on his dinner with his kibble. I mean, he's spoiled rotten. But he's worth it. All dogs are worth being spoiled. Just don't unhealthily spoil them. Don't give them a bunch of processed foods. Every once in a while, he'll get a potato chip or two from my dad. I told my dad, 5, that's it. Just like French fries, 5, that's it. So if I ever have French fries, a small thing of French fries, he can have 5, and that's it. And I'll tell him, this is the last one. He'll be sitting there, drool coming out his face, because he loves it because of the salt. That, and it's a daddy food, you know, because he is a spoiled boy. So, all right, but you guys have a nice weekend. I said like, share, and subscribe, but still, do it. Comment, what do you want to see next? Wolverine, Mojo, or Darkseid? And next week we'll be doing that, next Saturday. It'll be posted Saturday afternoon into the evening, as I'm getting ready to go play some, first I'm going to let him out. And then I'm going to be playing some more Crimson Desert. That game, I have over 200 hours, and it just sucks your soul. It swallows your soul, swallow your soul, swallow your soul. Clue to one of the statues that I have being shipped to me now. I'll swallow your soul. Alright, we'll see you guys. Have a good weekend. Have a good work week. And stay tuned.